Today, you asked me to talk about my experiences being a teaching assistant during my time in undergrad, and I'll also talk about why you should seek out becoming a TA yourself. This question was asked by SP in the comments below, so if you, just like them, are interested in hearing about something from me, then ask away. By the way, I did write an article almost 3 years ago on the value of teaching while being a student. I will leave it in the description in case you want to check it out. Also, I'm recording this video for the third time because I messed a couple things up in the previous 2 attempts. Oh well. Anyway, for a bit of context, I graduated after 7 regular academic terms, and I was a teaching assistant for 5 out of those 7. I TA'd the Compute 274-275 sequence of courses at the University of Alberta from second year, after taking them myself in the first. This may seem odd to you. How come a second year student was a TA for a course? Well, the thing is, in that course it's pretty normal. This is because Compute 274-275 is a first-year CS honors and second-year computer engineering accelerated introduction to CS that used Arduinos and had an extremely unique course evaluation system. Because of this fact, graduate students would simply not know enough to be able to help current students with the course. On the other hand, students that just took the course themselves understood how to navigate the mess of weekly exercises, morning problems, major assignments, course projects, along with being able to help out with Arduino C. Hell, I still have my student Arduino and a TA one, but I don't really use them for anything anymore, which is a bit sad, but oh well. Anyway, you might wonder, what the hell did I get to do? Well, I actually attended the 6 hours of lecture a week to help the students with in-class exercises, along with holding joint office hours with other TAs to help students with their assignments. But that was in second year. In third year, I also did a lot of admin work, setting up assignment submission pages on Moodle, did a bit of grading, and some other TA work coordination. I was technically the head TA, but that's an odd title to hold. In fourth year, I mostly moderated the Zoom chat and assigned TAs to help students in special breakout rooms during class. Quite obviously, that was during the pandemic, and it was actually an interesting thing to do. Okay, at this point, even writing this script feels a bit boring, so let's get to the juicy part, the wacky shit I learned and the stuff you actually care about. First things first, as a TA, you get to see how the entire class is performing. No, I wasn't peeping people's grades, that's none of my business. But some questions that people asked, let's just say they clearly needed a lot of help to get by. There is no shame in that, and actually being a TA reinforced my own policy of there not being any stupid questions. There are only good questions, misinformed questions, and fucking annoying questions. The misinformed ones are quite obvious. For example, hey Arseny, why is the test center not using my solution? The answer to which is, you have a space in the folder name. It messes with how the test center is run. Just save all your files to a folder with a different name. As for the annoying questions, well, the previous question was really fucking annoying when it was the same student asking it for the 5th week in a row, and we had a slide with the words, if you hit this error, make sure you do not have a space in the folder name, right at the front of the damn class. God damn it. Oh, and another thing that was annoying to deal with were the students that came to the help session just to fish for the answers. Now, I had to be polite and try to get the person to come up with the answer on their own, but man was it annoying to deal with them when it was a particularly busy day and people that were genuinely seeking help couldn't be helped. Let's move on to grading. This one is actually quite juicy. I learned a lot from grading, and sadly, not the stuff that I wanted to ever learn. You know which assignment submissions were quick and easy to grade? The ones that were clean and did the thing that was asked of the student in the way that was taught in the class. The submissions that were difficult to grade and took a lot of time were the ones that were written in an unreadable way, and those where you did not understand how the fuck it passes any, or sometimes somehow, all of the test cases I came up with. Another one was assignment submissions that I had to come up with a grade to give that wasn't 0, because something was indeed submitted, even if it didn't really do what was asked. Now, I don't want to discourage anyone, and there is no shame in submitting whatever you got if you're running up against the clock. But boy was it a pain to grade. But I simply have to say, having to grade an objectively bad submission from a person that I knew was struggling and did their best was genuinely heartbreaking. Regardless, you simply can't ignore the extra spicy submissions. I mean, look at this code. It's quite obviously fucking wrong. It's not supposed to work, and obviously, it is not the code that was submitted, but rather sample code that I came up with that showcases the stupid shit I had to grade. How the fuck does 42 get returned? There's no return statement on the recursive call. Well, the answer is really simple actually. The way the assembly is generated, there is no code after the bottom recursion level return statement that messes with any registers. You just restore the stack frames. In x86, the return statement pushes a 42 into the EAX register. It goes through the loop of returns and finally makes it out to the print statement, and the 42 is still there, chilling in the EAX register. Cool, that code works. With GCC, without optimizations turned on x86, well, and whatever microarchitecture Arduinos run on, with Clang, with optimizations turned on, and on many other platforms, this code will not work. The outcome? I slapped that submission with a 20% deduction just for that insane reliance on undefined behavior. That may seem too harsh of a deduction. The code did work, but the thing is, reinforcing bad habits at the introductory class level is pretty bad. Anyway, my philosophy on grading is not the topic of this video, so let's move on. Another thing that I realized while grading is that catching plagiarism is actually incredibly easy. Profs aren't just saying that it's easy to scare you, it's genuinely easy. There is this tool made by nerds at Stanford called MOS, or the Measure of Software Similarity. It returns similarity scores across all the assignments and takes next to no effort on the side of the grader to run. Now, the TA that grades does not make the decision if someone plagiarized. They just submit the MOS results to the prof, and the prof starts an investigation if one is necessary. However, when there are two submissions that only differ in the name at the top, down to punctuation and spelling errors in the comments, you know something fishy is going on. Oh, and just do yourself a favor, don't plagiarize in uni. Nothing erodes a university's reputation and trust from everyone like letting plagiarism slip by easily, so they police that shit super hard. Anyway, let's move on. You know, when I look back on my experiences, I have to say, it's the students that made it really enjoyable. Hell, I still have very fond memories of a lot of my students, some of which were my peers too. The Jacobian and Noah, Nathan, Michael, Cynthia, Charlie, and his buddy... Oh god, I don't remember which one was Charlie. Shit. So, final words. Should you try to be a TA? Fuck yeah, you should. It's a great part-time job on campus. You get to buff up your resume, reinforce that course's material super well for yourself, and honestly, answering other people's questions makes you understand the topic so damn well. Therefore, if you have the option to TA a course, strongly consider it. It's a fun job. Alright, if you guys like this sort of content, then please let me know what else you would like to know in the comments below. Either way, thank you for your time. Bye.